You've probably had this moment. You look back at a decision you made, one that felt reasonable at the time, and you think, how did I not see that coming? Not because you didn't know better, but because something obvious slipped past you. Imagine this. You're explaining a situation to someone else. Halfway through your explanation, you hear yourself say something, and suddenly the problem becomes clear. The flaw you missed shows up instantly, and the uncomfortable part is realizing it wasn't complicated. It was right there. What's actually happening isn't a lack of intelligence, it's a habit your mind relies on. When you're inside a decision, your mind isn't aiming for accuracy, it's aiming for coherence. It wants the situation to make sense as a whole. So it gathers the most available details, the strongest feelings, the most convincing explanations, and stitches them into a story that feels complete enough to act on. Once that story settles, something quiet happens. Your mind stops searching. Not because the answer is correct, but because it feels internally consistent. Loose ends fade. Contradictions feel irrelevant. Curiosity drops off. This is where smart people often get trapped. Being good at thinking usually means being good at explaining. You can connect ideas quickly, justify choices smoothly, and make uncertainty feel smaller than it is. That ability is useful until it creates the illusion that the situation has been fully understood. Later, when time passes or new information arrives, the gaps become obvious. But those gaps weren't hidden before. They were filtered out by a mind that had already decided it understood what was going on. And this is why the same mistake pattern repeats. It's not that you didn't know, it's that your mind decided it knew enough. Here's the quiet twist most people miss. The problem isn't the wrong conclusion. It's the moment your thinking stops being curious. The moment the explanation feels good enough to rest on. From that point on, everything else gets interpreted in service of the story you've already accepted. That's why hindsight feels so sharp. You're not suddenly smarter after the fact. You're just no longer emotionally invested in defending the original story. Once the urgency dissolves, your mind opens back up. And that's worth noticing. Not so you can avoid every mistake, you can't, but so you can recognize the feeling of mental closure when it shows up. That subtle sense that things feel settled, resolved, done. Because often that feeling isn't clarity at all, it's just the moment your mind stopped looking.